It's me, the D-O double G. Welcome to the Eden Army Podcast with your host tonight, Pete Robert Tucci.
Welcome, Eden Army. Look, Snoop sounds better every week. I think he pronounces my name a little better. AI Snoop does just every single week. Mama Stalker is in town then for her birthday. Okay, let's talk about who's in the house. We got Angry Russ in the house. We do have, before we do all that, guys, we got a lot of stuff to go over, and then we'll ask, then you can ask me any questions you want, especially about my trip to Kentucky and Tennessee. There was a lot going on in Kentucky. Some good stuff, some fun stuff, some just ridiculous stuff. But we do have some breaking news that we need to get to real quick. I don't know if you guys have been watching the news, but let me hit this over here. Moscow had an attack today in one of their concert halls. Did you guys happen to see that at all? Hey, Mama Tooch. Well, if not, I got a little bit of video, so let's pop that real quick, and then we'll talk about it. So like we always do, we'll let it run in its entirety first.
Какие-то люди стреляют. Пока эти.
So that was the initial information coming out of Moscow. Unknown number of assailants attacked a concert hall there. Initially, they didn't have any reports, but I understand here recently that ISIS has claimed responsibility for that. So, one of two things. First of all, it's very bad that happened to the Russians. But I am glad that somebody stepped up and took responsibility. They did evacuate, but let's move on to the next video, which is actually a news report, and I think things get a little more ominous from there. Let's look at that real quick.
We want to turn now to some other breaking news overseas, and this is shocking. Russian state media is reporting a shooting, some kind of shooting, followed by an explosion occurred at Crocus City. That's a major concert and events hall, a huge modern complex on the outskirts of Moscow. People in camouflage, at least 3 of them, they burst into the ground floor of the Crocus City Hall during a concert and opened fire with automatic weapons. Most of the building is now engulfed in flames. This is a major attack. The roof of that place, like think Madison Square Garden, think something much more modern even. Think SoFi Stadium or something like that in Los Angeles. The roof has collapsed. That's what's going on in Moscow right now.
And our foreign correspondent, Tom Sufi-Burridge, has been doing everything he can to get as much information as possible. He's there in London as this has been breaking. So, Tom, the Russian Foreign Ministry is calling the incident a terrorist attack. What do we know?
Yeah, multiple Russian officials, Kira, are calling this a terrorist attack now. It just looks at this stage like one of the worst terror attacks in the last few years in the entire of Russia. I mean, this is a major complex with a concert ongoing. We know a Russian rock band was performing at the time. What we can say at this moment in time is that gunmen entered that complex within the last few hours with automatic weapons. They opened fire. You can see the concert hall now ablaze. This is a developing situation right now. The incident is not over by any means, according to reports. I mean, there are lots of unconfirmed reports about casualty numbers. Only official sources are saying about 18 people hospitalized at this stage, but that only seems to be part of the
Okay, so what we knew at the time was 40 people were known to be killed. Unknown people, Terry, were inside the building when the roof collapsed, and ISIS has since claimed responsibility for the acts. My original guesses were, and I wrote it down on my notepad here, was either the Chechens. It was my initial guess. And then the other thing was I thought it might have been the Russian opposition forces that ended up, because the one guy, Smirnov, ended up getting killed in prison. So my thoughts were maybe opposition forces or the Chechens. However, ISIS has claimed responsibility for that. So sad things going on over there in Russia, unfortunately. So that's all I know about the Russian thing. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Angry Mom is in the house. How are you doing? And then, Christy, you guys are coming over Sunday, right, to pick up your books? Look, and let's talk about the books real quick. All the books have gone out. I maybe have 3 or 4 left, so if you want those, buy them. Actually, I have an extra one. I won't tell you why, but Christy knows why. But so I have maybe 4 or 5 books left. So if you need some for Christmas presents or whatever the heck y'all want to do with them, put them in the fire pit. I don't care. Whatever you want to do with them, I will certainly get them out to you. But let's go through, what do you say we go through the rest of the current events, and then we just shoot the crap a little bit. You got your book yesterday? Angry Mama? Because I just mailed them out yesterday, so I'm not... If you got it yesterday, that's impressive. But I went through the Postal Service, so that's a government agency, so I don't suspect. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's move over to the next order of business for today. Wow. She got hers today already. Well, are you done with it yet? You're not complaining that I need to write the other one real fast, are you? Because I don't write that fast. Hey, Ed, how are you doing, brother? We just went through the attacks in Russia, Ed, and that was kind of interesting. But forget that. Let's move on. Bidenomics. Let's talk about Bidenomics. Bidenomics doing well, everybody says. Inflation is down, according to KJP over there, that White House spokesman. Inflation is down. Businesses are booming, hiring. They're doing all that stuff. Well, that's just simply not the case.
Well,
because
when they write the numbers, they can get it down.
Yeah, when they write exactly. When they write the numbers, they can actually get it down. And I certainly have the numbers here. Russ, you're live, by the way, but that's fine with me. Walmart's closing currently 23 stores. 8 of those are in blue states. Target's closing 9 stores. Walgreens closing 900 stores. Bed Bath & Beyond closing 360 stores. Lowe's is closing 50 stores. Macy's 150 stores. Starbucks 61 stores. I don't mind that. I don't mind the Starbucks closings. You can have those. Close all of them, as far as I'm concerned. What I do mind, though, is Home Depot. 15 stores being closed. Dollar Tree, 1,000 stores being closed. And all you guys that are voting blue, you're going to really hate this one. Foot Locker, 400 stores being closed. Where are you going to get your Nikes? Where are you going to get your Air Jordans? Okay, well, think about that come November. Let's see what else. Gap closing 350 stores. Party City, 24 stores. Don't care. Big Lots closing all their stores in California and Colorado. Burger King is closing 400 stores. Best Buy, 20 stores. Boston Market, 27 stores. Kmart only has 2 stores left, by the way. Sears and Roebuck, 22 stores. Regal Cinemas, 429 movie theaters being closed. Now, a lot of that is because of the streaming stuff that's going on. I get that. I completely 100% understand the cinemas closing. Kroger grocery stores, 413 stores closing. And these next 3 are the most concerning to me, because this really is the tale of how the economy is going. U.S. Bank closing 23 branches. Wells Fargo closing over 60 branches. And Capital One is closing 50 branches. That's an important thing right there, guys. That's important. That is a telltale sign of what actually the economy is doing. If the banks aren't making money, things are going really bad because the banks make money on both ends. So Will says he is boycotting Tyson. You're boycotting Tyson because of the layoffs, I assume, Will? Lala's in the house. Where I don't see Lala. I don't see Lala anywhere on mine. Let's see. I also, guys, I got to check a couple different chat streams. I'm also checking the YouTube. There's some people chatting it up on YouTube. Amazon is Lamont. Is Amazon closing some of their facilities or what? Or Amazon is the reason some of these facilities are closing also. So there's a couple things. So Will says he is boycotting Tyson because of the laying off of the American workers in lieu of the undocumented workers. And then Michael Lamont over on YouTube is saying that he is thinking about boycotting, or he just put in Planet Fitness. And Planet Fitness is being boycotted because of their activities going on with the transgender male going in the female's locker room, I believe. So interesting times.
No chats on Facebook.
There's no chats on Facebook. Good. Okay.
No.
Perfect.
I'm keeping an eye on it.
Thank you. Okay. Good. All right. So that's it. So when you hear KJP getting up there and talking about how great the economy is, do a little research and ask yourself, why are all these businesses closing? Yes, businesses are hiring. The ones that are staying open are hiring a little more because we're post-pandemic. These are all the people that have been laid off before. So yes, it looks like unemployment rates are going down and down and down, but that's because of the pandemic. So don't let them fool you. Don't believe the propaganda. Bidenomics is not working, and not only is it not working, it's going to get even worse. So, Mike Lamont, I don't know where you're going to buy your Nikes, buddy, but it's not going to be from Foot Locker. So let's go back over here to this. El Paso, Texas. Let's stay stateside for a little bit. El Paso, Texas had some interesting things go on the other day. Let's pop it. How many women do you see in that bunch? You guys look at the video. I'm going to play it. I'll keep playing it. But how many women, how many children do you see in that bunch? And tell me what you actually see. I'll tell you what I see. I see military-aged males. I see military-aged males attacking our National Guard right now. That's what I see. So there you go. So what happens in any other country when military-age males attack a National Guard or a military portion of the state? What happens?
They get the beat down.
They get the beat down. We go to war. Okay, we're under attack at the southern border. I don't know any other way to explain this or tell it any simpler than that. The southern border is a war zone right now. 100% no chance. Sir the man, senior the man. Lala boy's here. Yeah, so southern border is a tinderbox right now. And from what I understand, Texas has pretty much told the United States government to go screw themselves. They're not upholding the Constitution when it comes to migration. And since they are not going to protect the southern border, their southern state border, that it's incumbent upon them to do that on their own. So this is what people in the South is looking at. Let me read chats real quick. They didn't use deadly force. They could have been deployed. Flashbangs. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they didn't just go ahead and pepper spray them right there. Other than it would just be a media frenzy at that point. Remember when the media misconstrued the Border Patrol agent on the horseback, who said he was whipping that migrant? It was about a year ago. So that's the same thing. They'll cut it piece by piece, and the next thing you know, it's a big thing for the Democrats. Lala is epic. Lala's boys here. Lala, my editor sent me a note when we were going through the editing process in book 3, and she didn't have any corrections in your scene. All she wrote was, "This scene is epic. No changes." So if for her to say that, and she edits for guys like Boyd Craven and Franklin Horton and stuff like that. So if she thinks that scene was epic, I'm guessing it was probably pretty epic. What do you got, Russ? Yeah, Russ says, yeah, that is saying something. Let me look over on YouTube chat real quick. And Kelly over on YouTube. You guys have to, Kelly, you got to get on Kick. That's where all the cool kids are at right now. Somebody type in I'll type it in real quick. Because once we do the after show. Oh, I can't do it there. I got to do it over here. Hang tight, guys. That's where all the cool kids are going to hang out for the after show. Ben and Kelly and Larry and Michael Lamont. So that's that for the southern border. Let's move over to what's going on with the Trump case. This blows my mind. So let's recap a little bit. So first they tried to get Trump on criminal charges. Didn't work. Right? Now they say, okay, we're gonna go get you in civil court. Okay, they trumped up a whole bunch of, no pun intended, they trumped up a whole bunch of charges. Civil court is a whole bunch easier to convict in than in the other court system. So they won there. So $484 million is what's owed to the state of New York. He has 30 days to come up with that money. Of course, he can't get a bond for that money. So they are going to begin seizing his properties in the city of New York. Not only the city, but in the entire state. So Trump Plaza, the golf courses, all that stuff. So what's happening here? So if this isn't election interference, I don't know what is. Because not only is it taking his time from his campaign trail, it's also taking his finances away from his campaign. This is election interference 101. Okay, they can't put him in jail. Russia would have just put him in jail. So they're going to try to bankrupt him. And then the only other option, which I'm not even going to say because we're still streaming on YouTube, may happen next. Who knows? I don't understand how people are not seeing this, but this is election interference. And it's about time somebody says something. And I don't know why Republicans in Congress are sitting on their hands, with the exception of Marjorie Taylor, Greg Taylor, I don't know why everybody else is sitting on their hands and they're just watching this thing play out. They should be up in arms, because if it's happening to Trump, sooner or later it's going to happen to them. Unless, of course, they are part of the establishment. So the people that aren't raising a fuss about this, just remember that when the time comes. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's election interference? Do you think I'm just blowing smoke? Do you think I'm being a conspiracy theorist? I don't know. It seems like election interference to me. I don't know any other way to put that. It sounds ridiculous. Let's move on here. Oh, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but a new report came out from the National Security Agency and the EPA saying that cyber attacks targeting U.S. water systems are imminent. They went away from, it could happen, to they are imminent. According to Michael Regan from the EPA and Jake Sullivan, they say drinking water and wastewater systems are an attractive target for cyber attacks because they are a lifeline to critical infrastructure. That sector also lacks the resources and technical capacity to adapt to rigorous cybersecurity practices. So what they're telling you right there is that cybersecurity practices are not in place. There's no way to stop a cyber attack on the most critical of resources, which is being our water sources. So what does that mean? That means we need to do an area study for all you preparedness guys out there. If you don't have water on your property that you can properly filter, don't rely on the municipal water system. You need to do an area survey and find out where you're going to be able to get your drinking water from, because it's only a matter of time. Joanne says election interference, 100%. And Joanne says her book is supposed to be there tomorrow, so you guys might start seeing your books. Did they send you a tracking number or anything, Joanne? Wow, okay. So books might be delivered tomorrow that went out on the first batch on Thursday, and the ones that went out on the batch today won't be there till Monday. So Joanne will get hers, and Terry, you'll probably get yours. That's exciting news. I hope you love it as much as I loved writing it. Let's move over to the Middle East. Houthis are claiming responsibility for targeting a fuel tanker with missiles. It's an unconfirmed thing right now by the French and by the United States government, although that looks like a fuel tanker in the background there, and it looks like it's on fire. So I'm pretty sure that the Houthis did indeed attack a fuel tanker that was flying a French flag. Interesting thing, Houthis now have given permission to the Russian government and the Chinese government for safe passage through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. So we can see an alliance being formed there, and things can only get worse from that aspect. The French government is considering sending 40,000 troops to bolster the Ukrainian forces. Putin has already said, we know you have 2,000 troops there. He vows to kill any French troops and escalate the conflict by targeting all of the Ukrainian infrastructure that the Russians have not hit yet. And I was looking at the news just before we came on. They've already done that. There is currently millions of Ukrainians without power because the Russians have targeted the vital infrastructure that is their power grid over there. The United States asked for an immediate ceasefire. Let's move over to Hamas and get the Gaza Strip. The United States asked for an immediate ceasefire with the UN Council, which was voted down by China and Russia. They said the actions of the United States are too late, and they refused to condemn Hamas for the terrorist attacks in October. So, battle lines are being drawn. What else did I had? Something else that I wanted. Oh, that's exactly what I had right here. The House passed a $1.2 trillion spending package hours before the shutdown was set to take place. And MTG is pissed off, and rightfully so, because the Speaker of the House basically went behind the majority's back and settled this with the House to move the bill onto the Senate. What was in that bill? What was in that bill is allowing 5,000 illegal immigrants to come over the border before the president even has the constitutional authority to act. 5,000 a day. Okay, do the math. 365 days, 5,000. You do the math. So what has happened inside of that bill is the president can just sit back and say, I haven't reached 5,000 yet. Keep coming. Keep coming. And over a year's time, think how many illegal immigrants will be on United States soil. Hey, Opie, how you doing, brother? Not too late. We're just going through current events. We haven't started BSing yet. And that's usually the fun part. Anyway, MTG also goes on to say that in that spending bill, the federal government is now funding late-term abortions. So your tax dollars will go to late-term abortions. Late-term abortions, up to 9 months. That's your tax dollars at work right now. Joanne Wallace asked on YouTube, what are my thoughts on DeSantis sending law enforcement to the Keys to stop Haitians from entering Florida and the new laws making penalties more strict? I don't mind the new laws making penalties. Here's the thing, Joanne. We don't need new laws. We don't need any new laws. We just need to enforce the laws that are in place. Now, right now, Haiti is something we need to pay attention to, because if there was any reason to allow people into our country right now, it is the Haitians. They are in the midst of a civil war that you can't believe. Gangs have taken over that country. So that is the true definition of an exile. Someone that is leaving for the right reasons. They're not leaving for the benefits, the social, the entitlements that the United States has given her. They are actually leaving to flee death. So I don't have a problem with allowing them in and then processing them through the systems, the laws that are already in place. But to go on to answer your question on YouTube, I don't mind DeSantis sending additional troops down there to intercept them, because we can't just allow them to come over the border without intercepting them and going through the process of migration. So no, I don't mind that, but I would certainly like to see Haitians here fleeing death and famine, as opposed to South American citizens coming here for the sole benefits of collecting entitlements at the cost of the taxpayers. So I hope that answered your question. She says, I know I was talking about penalties within Florida when they get arrested. He just signed a bill to make longer prison times. Well, it's not longer prison times. It's longer prison time. It's a longer processing time. It's saying we're not going to release you into the public and give you a court date 2 years from now. We're going to hold you and we're going to let you go through the process of legal migration. So again, do not mind that. I did see Will on Kick says that if you cross the border, you receive $2,200 a month, more than what most people are getting on their Social Security check right now, by the way. So that's all you have to do is cross that border, and all those military-age males who probably aren't coming here to work, who probably aren't fleeing starvation, fleeing war, are going to get $2,200 a month just because they made it over the border illegally. And I listened to the news today with Mama in the car. They believe that females crossing the border using coyotes, 90% of them are raped. 90% of the females crossing the border illegally are raped from the cartels. So how can you tell me that this type of migration, that this time of immigration, that this type of immigration is working when you're putting kids at risk for the sex trade, women of age and maybe younger are being raped on the way over here by the drug cartels, who, by the way, is a $16 billion industry for them, just moving people across the border during the Biden administration. So how can you tell me that it's racist to say that this immigration shouldn't happen? Of course it should happen. And why aren't those liberals, that Me Too movement people, those crazy mentally ill people, why aren't they running up the flagpole right now? Why aren't they just picketing in the street, rioting in the street for women's rights and stuff like that? Well, we know why. It does not fit what the Democrats want you to hear. So Melissa says that her Haiti friends are saying that the Port-au-Prince is the only bad city, and the rest of it is relatively safe. So I don't know about that. I don't know. And of course, all the news outlets are showing the violence that's actually going on, which is probably, you're right, Melissa, is in the Port-au-Prince. Yeah, it's crazy, Russ, isn't it? That's more than an American who's worked their entire life in this country and paid taxes is getting in Social Security. It blows my mind. Madman Wayne, welcome to the chat, sir. Let's see. So that's all the news. That is the news, guys. Let's talk about our Kentucky trip. So for those of you that have followed me on Facebook and stuff like that, I did one of the book signing preparedness expo things. And you know, if you know me, you know I absolutely hate doing those things. It's not that I don't like talking to people. I like talking to people. Although I am an introvert, and the fact that I'm even in front of you right now blows my mind. But that was really a interesting expo. The first night we got there, I got there on a Thursday, and my wife can tell you I'm a pretty cheap guy. I say frugal. She says I'm just a cheap ass. So I said, screw it. I am not spending money on a hotel. I am not spending money in an RV park. I'm not driving my RV up there 8 miles to the gallon. I'm going to camp on site. Well, Thursday night, I look at the weather radar, and I see that in Ohio, tornadoes have killed 6 people, and it's coming my way. So I say, holy crap, I'm in a tent. But the good news is I had a field full of survival experts camping out with me, and bushcraft instructors were there. The storm rolled in about... The storm rolled in at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up to hear all of these bushcraft instructors screaming, yelling for help, tents flying over. One guy in his tent, according to everybody there, was blown 50 feet while inside of his tent. And I was huddled inside of my little tent thinking, well, I guess this is just the way I die, in a field in Kentucky. But the tent held up. So why did the tent hold up? Because the dumb guy who just writes about post-apocalyptic fiction looks at the weather radar and says, hey, the winds are going to come from this direction. Let me park my truck there to buffer my little tent, my little tiny 2-person tent. And maybe, just maybe, I won't die. So I woke up that morning because I wasn't getting out. They were going to fend for themselves. Look, I am not the hero anymore. I am not. I retired. I'm not going to run into burning buildings. If you're getting a car accident, I'm probably going to drive right by you. Okay, because I know help is coming. Someone's called 911. So I wake up in the morning to see the entire field scattered with tents and different bushcraft stuff, flints and wood and whatever the hell they were doing, rubbing 2 sticks together, and they were hiding. And one of the group of instructors got in their van in the middle of the storm. They were driving around, and they said, "What are we supposed to do now?" We're like, "You're the worst instructors. I'm never taking a class from you. It's just not going to happen. Okay, you're the worst instructors I've ever seen. Roll the windows up and ride out the storm. What do you want us to do?" Dumb. So anyway, moral of the story: pick your instructors well. So I'm gonna put you on. Hold on, Russ. Go ahead.
Right. So what was so funny about all that is I heard somebody tell the story in regards to it that, bushcrafters, they're not willing to use their phones to look up the weather or anything like that. It's only to post Instagrams of what they can do, and it was just ridiculous. But based off some other conversations that I had up there was a whole bunch of karma dealt out that night.
Yeah, there really was. And here's the thing: if you're any type of and I use this term, if you're any type of survivalist, you're going to use the tools that you have on hand. Look, I'm not going to use a flint and steel if I've got a lighter in my pocket. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Right? So it was amazing. Anyway, that was the first night. That was before the expo even started. So I was up all night, and then I had to, of course, go set up and do my thing and kiss babies and shake hands and stuff like that. Hey, Javi, how you doing, brother?
Fine job you did.
Yeah, it was interesting. But it is a good thing that I went to the expo. Day one was basically Friday was just all the vendors. Didn't really do much in sales, but I did meet some really cool people and got to hook up with Brian Kirby, an old friend of mine who did some training with the Israelis down in the Makali. So we were able to, tell some war stories and stuff like that. EJ, I believe, Will stayed in a hotel in Peterston or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But he wasn't out in that field, I can tell you that much. And then there was also the Tarzan of Los Angeles, another one of those guys are fine, though. I'm not saying anything bad about them. They were really nice guys, and albeit a little bit loud, but they were really nice. So... But that was, so day two, Friday was good. Saturday was even better. Had a pretty good crowd. And then I'm thinking to myself, and I probably shouldn't say this on the air. I'm thinking to myself, based on, no, I'm not going to say it, forget it. Let me just say this. I'm selling books in a very remote part of Kentucky.
Can I say it? I'll say it.
You can say it, man, behind the scenes. But I'm selling books, so I'm beginning to get a little bit worried. Russ, why am I getting worried?
Because I would hazard to guess, and I don't mean any disrespect to the fine folks up there in Knott County, but the average reading level was probably 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah. So I'm looking and I'm like, I am not going to sell a book in this place to save my life. But the good news is I actually write at a 3rd and 4th grade level. So I did really, I did really well on the second day. So that was good. And then of course Sunday it was terrible also, but it was well worth it because Saturday I got to meet my editor for the first time, and we have news that I can't quite share with you yet, but I'm very, very excited about. And when I'm able to share that with you guys, I want you to know it's because of your support that all of this is happening, and it has nothing to do with me. So I will share that news soon, and I am very excited about it. I just have to leave it at that right now until the ink is dry. And then we went from there to my buddy Javi's house, who's Easy Life over there on Kick. How long have we been going on YouTube? I want to see if I can't get rid of them here soon. Not yet. Those of you on YouTube, get over to Kick because we're going to be moving over to there very soon. And then I went to my buddy's Javi's house up in Tennessee. Now, Javi's house in Tennessee is basically, he's built a tiny house, which was friggin' awesome. If you guys seen Javi do any work, and the fact that I wasn't in a tent and I was in a tiny, I was in a 5-star resort. It was amazing. And I didn't freeze. The Sunday morning when I left, all the water bottles that were in the back of my truck were frozen solid. So, okay, gotcha, Russ. Good. I can bump off that one then. Okay, we just threw Facebook off. We'll leave Rumble going for now, and we'll let those people try to merge from YouTube over to Kick sooner or later. Yeah, Facebook is not very friendly to me, guys. Sorry. But that's why we go on multiple platforms, and then we just end up on Kick, where we can just really, really cut loose. Gotcha, Russ. Okay, so we'll keep Rumble going. For those of you that are on Rumble, I don't have any ability right now to see the chat, or even if there is chat, we're relatively new there. But my name is Pete Robertucci, and I write post-apocalyptic fiction stuff. I'm a retired firefighter, SWAT medic, and all that good stuff. So I retired in February, and now this is what I do for a living. What we typically do is we do about an hour on the traditional platforms, and then we move over to kick.com. So you can find us over there for the after show at kick.com/Pete-Robertucci, just like you see on the bottom of the screen right there. Angry Russ, you just leveled up to level 2. Don't know what that means, but that's what it says on Kick.
I've been active in chat.
He's been chatting it up. Gotcha. So let's go.
Question.
Let's go. Who's got a question?
Will's got a question in Kick.
What's with the whiskey? Dan, are you still on Kick? Because I'm going to ruin your gift I got for you right now. So, what's with the whiskey on the shelf behind me right now and in the book signing? We got 4 bottles of these right here, and I was turned on to this by my buddy Dan, who built that awesome sign behind me. And if you guys can see that, and there's a great story behind it, and there was even a movie made about it, about the horse soldiers. But Dan, if you can see that, let me see how I can do that real quick. We actually have 4 signed bottles, 2 with regular signatures, 1 to me, Dan, and then 1 to you also. So next time you come around, make sure you pick that bottle up from me, because it was because of you giving it to me at the first annual Eden Army get-together that I was turned on to it. So it was a pretty good whiskey. So hopefully that answered your question there. So I'm going to go on a quick intermission. We're going to say goodbye to the people on YouTube. Those of you on YouTube, feel free to migrate over to Kick, and we'll see you soon. Hold on.